The content discussed in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial or mortgage advice. Always consult with a licensed professional before making any decisions regarding mortgages or financial matters.
Welcome to the Canadian Mortgage Show. Here are mortgage professionals Alex Pang and Alex Shanks to cut through the BS and educate Canadians on all things mortgages and real estate.
A lot of large rallies are being gathered across countries in Europe, France, the UK, Spain, Greece, protesting mass immigration. And one protesting sign said, "Quality immigration, not quantity." Welcome to the Canadian Mortgage Show, episode 53. Alex Pang here, alongside my co-host Alex Shanks. Alex, how was the first week of school been for you guys?
It's been pretty good. I mean, our school started for our oldest. It started on Wednesday. That was like a half day. Today was like the first full day. So I mean, it's not even like the first full week of school and everything. But it's going pretty good. Kid got in a nice class, some good friends near him. So excited that way. We got one that graduated. Let's not go in there until like, how's that feel?
Oh, it actually not too bad. I mean, didn't have to drive him to school. He actually has a full day of school. He's grade 11 now, and my oldest is he's working with his uncle's company. I mean, what you were mentioning, it harkens back when our kids were young, and man, that first week of school sucked because the gradual entry, it's like they don't need an hour, man. Just go, they're fine. So it's a pain in the butt having to just drop them off, and then it's essentially you're just hanging out, and half the time you're talking with the other parents for an hour, and like, oh, they're ready to come out now and stuff. But it is what it is.
Yeah, no, it should be fun. And it's, I mean, we'll see. We got him in 3 different activities, figuring out if it's going to be too much. He did his first class of jujitsu today. We'll see if he can try and beat me up here now. And we got swimming, and he's going to do some theater. So we'll see how that goes.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, my youngest, he joined choir. So his first, I don't know, audition, I guess, with the teacher, they were trying to figure out what range he is. Like, oh, I think you're a tenor, or I think you're an alto, and all that stuff. And practicing with my wife back home, he's like, oh. So I'm like, all right, this is fun. And my oldest, he wasn't into any of the extracurriculars. He just, I don't know, he was not really motivated in that, right? He's like, oh man, all that work. So he was pretty glad to not be in school. But in the Lower Mainland, for those of you, the rest of the country, we finally had wildfire smoke come into our area. And I was talking to Alex offline about this, and even my family. For the most part, the whole summer, we haven't had any like wildfire impact. And well, I think I jinxed it. And like smoke has kind of blanketed the Lower Mainland, and it's even made his way out over to the island to you, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't like it. It looked a little bit like hazy this morning, and like I could actually smell a little bit, but like it cleared up. It's not socked in. Like, I mean, 2 weeks ago it was really bad here. And so I mean it's a bit better that way. But I think there's a big fire in Merritt area. I think there's a couple in the US that seem to be like pushing up this way.
Yeah. I know most people, like, they give you the air quality warning on like weather, like our weather app, the Weather Network, and it said, like high risk, and most people are okay with it. But I actually have exercise induced asthma, so I could feel it more, and I could taste the smoke, and it tastes terrible. Like, it's one thing when you're out camping and when you're allowed to have a campfire, in front of a campfire, roasting marshmallows, s'mores, drinking beer, whatever. That's one thing of smelling like smoke, but like you're going out your daily business and you're like, this is not good. And you feel heavy and sticky and everything, right? Yeah. So like over the course of today, I was like, you know what? I used to make fun of these people, but I'm wearing a mask even if I'm leaving my car, going to the gym, and in between my appointments. I'm like, like I don't like how I feel after. I feel like even when I'm talking afterwards, I feel like smoke is coming out of my lungs when I'm.
Do you have like like an actual like N95 filter? Like,
No, it's one of those the non-medical ones, the ones we wore during COVID. So I'm like, that's better than nothing. I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
it's gotta take care of your health, folks. So yeah, especially for those of you in the Lower Mainland, and I'm sure other parts of the country too. I know summer's coming to an end, wildfire season, I guess, is coming to an end. But if you have experienced it, stay home, stay safe. We've had to stay home, and thankfully we have AC, so we have our AC running 24/7, and waiting for the rain to come. I think this weekend rain's coming, so it'll dissipate the smoke.
totally.
We have a big show. Should we get started?
Yeah, let's jump into it. I mean, we can first talk about what's going to lead into in the next few weeks there. I don't know if you got, Alex, I got last week. There was someone posted on social media about that the bank, like an old posting of the Bank of Canada. And I got like 10 different calls of like, I hear the Bank of Canada dropped interest rates. I'm like, what are you talking about? The Bank of Canada doesn't meet until September 17th. The first person that did, I just thought, I was like, oh, someone just, they didn't know. I got it again and again. And I finally messaged someone like, where are you getting this information from? And they sent me, it was like an old news article, but it got pushed to the top of the list on like the Google search bar. And so people were thinking that the Bank of Canada dropped interest rates. And I'm like, that hasn't happened. But what we're going to talk about here today is obviously like the Canadian economy, all economies, they're not doing great. And it actually shrank by 1.6 in the quarter two of 2025. Now, this is the first drop since the pandemic. I mean, I don't fully believe that. I feel like they probably changed the numbers a little bit to make them look better in certain areas that they want them to. And the big reason is obviously our exports have plunged due to the US tariffs in Canada. People aren't going to want to buy our stuff because they're going to have to pay higher. But again, people are still buying here. And that's increased the odds of the Bank of Canada of cutting here on September 17th by up to 50% now. It was like sitting at 33%. I'm still in the boat myself, Alex. I don't think there's a cut coming here in September. I know we've talked about it before. You lean that there could be. Again, this data next week could change for me. And I might say, hey, you know what? I'm actually leaning more towards it. Right now, I don't believe that it's going to make them cut yet.
Yeah, there's I believe two more major reports coming out before the 17th that the Bank of Canada will decide on. I'm with you there. I'm kind of more on the, I doubt it. I'd be happy if they do it, but I'm leaning towards they don't do it. But we could be wrong, and if we're wrong,
it's not a bad thing to be wrong by. It's
Yeah.
the bad thing, yes, the economy could be doing worse and worse, but hey, it will be nice for some people on the mortgage rates. And again, just to very much clarify for people, because these were the calls of like, is my fixed rate going to go down? If you're in a variable rate mortgage or getting one, you will see that instant drop of 0.25, half of percent, whatever the Bank of Canada does. If you're in a fixed rate, your interest rate will not drop by 0.25%. That is completely different for the financing. That's based on bond yields. They usually have already priced in those rate drops. And so that's where you're not going to see a drop.
Yeah, of course. And then for most of you on variable rates, you're on a fixed payment variable, so your payments are going to stay the same. But for those of you with mortgage finance companies or Scotiabank or National Bank, for instance, who are adjustable rate mortgages, if there is a cut, you will actually see a direct result in your payment going down accordingly. Next up here, StatsCan confirming that our Canadian exports, just to tag onto what Alex saying about our exports not doing well, it crashed 13.1% in Q2 as well. It's the largest decline in our history, and you'll see on the YouTube side, the graph there, you just see a huge dip right there. And, we're in a $19 billion trade deficit with energy being down almost 20%. And the GDP is contracting now. Again, this is a direct result of the tariffs, retaliatory included. And if you asked us, it's probably bad policy as well. And, this is obviously the early stages of a recession, but we've been talking about it, for this past year. The per capita GDP has been in recessive territory in year and a half, 2 years, ever since rates have started skyrocketing. Would you think?
Oh, and I mean, I mean, if we go back a year and we talk about Christina Freeland when she was the finance manager of like, oh, we're in a vibe session, everyone, our economy's doing good. Don't worry there. I mean, the government's been trying to push this narrative like, don't worry, everything's okay. And I mean, we just keep getting more news that, hey, everything is not in the ideal situation. And the economy does not look great.
Oh yeah, and harkens back to the day of oh, inflation is transitory. I'm like, what the hell does transitory mean? I had to look it up on Google. Oh, it's a temporary thing. Oh, and oh yeah, these rates are going to stay low for a long, long time. So just go ahead and spend money and borrow, borrow, borrow. I'm like, well, when's the last time you trusted a politician?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing. And I mean, that's where yeah, again, we're just going to keep getting more data. Now the one thing that is the Canadian retail sales rose actually 1.5%. Again, I mean, that's to me, that's hitting like it's almost summer. People want to go spend some stuff because it's going to be the summer holidays. And like, that's where it goes up. And then you can see in July, it dropped by 0.8%. It's like, that just makes sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it just kind of harkens back to like 1 month of data does not tell the whole picture. Like if you look at graphs, oftentimes you need to see a quarter or multiple quarters at a time to see an actual trend for things to happen. Next up here, over the last 20 years, home prices have outpaced CPI, and that's Consumer Price Index. That is, yeah, that's pretty much kind of falling in line what we've seen over the last, 20 odd years.
I mean, the chart looks
yeah,
pretty much that chart to me, Alex, reminds us of when we talk about the Canadian real estate compared to the US real estate. The only thing like that one doesn't have is like if it would have peaked in like 2009, that like the trend there would look to me is like, oh, we're looking at the Canadian real estate and the US real estate. Like that's what that chart
yeah.
is pretty much going to see it.
Well, yeah, and even if you were to extrapolate that to BC, it was fairly flat from 2010-ish, I guess, to 2015 after the global financial crisis. And then that's when a lot of the offshore money came from China, Hong Kong, and whatever into BC market 2015. And then that's when BC real estate spiked. And I'm pretty sure Ontario as well. And of course, Vancouver and Toronto. Was it 70% of the country live in these two cities or in these two metropolitan areas, and yeah, which kind of that's when home prices detach from incomes, and because it just shows that real estate became a speculative play, and it was just a gambling kind of investment.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, let's go to the Toronto condo market. I think it would be interesting for if we get our producer to go back and see how often do we talk about the Toronto condo market free falling. And it's in a free fall, says the housing minister Gregor Robertson. The federal government has programs to incentivize rental housing, and we'll look at how this is glut of a condo product might help overall strengthen housing goals over time. I mean, this goes back, like the words that they're saying is all these things that they're trying to sell. Well, the government's going to take them. These are going to turn into rentals. Like that's what I get from this. And I mean, I think I've talked about that for the last few months.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there is more kind of blood that's going to happen, with developers going under, which we'll touch on later, the one particular developer, but the smaller developments, they're going to go bankrupt or go into receivership. The big development families in the BC area, I've talked about who they are. I don't know, familiar with the big developers out back east. They will see that as opportunity and buy up failed projects, and they'll finish building, or they'll just bank the land if it hasn't broken ground, because they have it's almost like the big bank. They have the capitalization or the cash to hang on to it and to withstand that. Now, does it remind me of Gregor Robertson saying, like, when he first went into office, he did say that we need to make homes more affordable, but cannot decrease home prices. So if you can't have one and the other, what does that mean? Does that mean you're just allowing people to take on more debt? Is that basically what you're saying?
That's to me, that's the only thing that makes sense. That's the only way that you can spin that one.
Yeah, which leads us into our next bit. I mean,
Yeah.
you want to cover that one?
Yeah, this one it's a industry giant. He's been around forever as a mortgage broker. He's been a manager of like a mortgage company. Has just done a lot of stuff. He's there always to help people. Dustin Woodhouse. And he wrote an article floating about an idea. How do we create that affordability? And what he was talking about is increasing amortizations. And what do we mean by that? Is the only way for us to increase affordability is either people need to make more money so they can afford that, or we need to spread the debt out further over time. And so obviously option one would be increase household income. Everyone's not going to be able to do that. Now, the only other way is lower the cost to construct. Let's lower the cost to construct means eliminating 30% of the taxes and development fees. Maybe that's not going to happen because the tax revenue has to come in from somewhere. Or do we have to cut the government spending? And again, where are we going to take that money from? And so I see that one like incentivizing to me of like builders that maybe are smaller right now, being like, hey, let's give them more funding to do this to help them build up. And maybe they're willing to do it at a 15% profit instead of a 25% profit. Like that's where I feel like the government can make some better programs there. We'll talk about some government programs that don't work so great here later. And that's the problem with government programs. But the only way at the moment that what they could do, I don't fully believe it to me is the best thing, is we can extend an amortization up to 50 years. Right now, you can get a 25-year or a 30-year. Obviously, you can go lower than that. There's some alternative lenders that can do like a 35-year. Now, all that is going to do is to me, you're really a renter. Like you're buying it. And I think in Japan, they do have something like this where like, your family, like you kind of own it, but you don't fully own it. And that's what I believe a 50-year does is that's going to be a generational home. Like this is something that if you got it, the average purchase price of a person right now, what do we say, Alex? Like 45 or something when someone's buying. So I mean, yeah. At 45, if you got a 50-year amortization, you're not paying that thing off. Like you're potentially going to be dead before that mortgage is paid off. And so that's where, yes, I could see it being able to allow people to buy, but is it actually going to help them create wealth? I don't believe so. It would allow someone to own it. Yes, you're going to pay a little bit of principal. Now, this is where CMHC already does this. You can get a 50-year amortization when you're doing a purpose-built rental. That's something that they already allow and everything. And obviously, your mortgage balance does go down slowly over time. But I mean, I don't even know if I have a calculator that will let me put a 50-year amortization in. I just want to see what a principal and interest payment would be on that. Let's see if I can do it simply.
I mean, the idea of a 50-year amortization is obviously stretching it out so you have lower monthly payments. But of course, all you those listening out there is what that means is you're just ballooning the interest that you'll pay over time. So if you're buying a $1 million house, chances are if you stretch it over 50 years, you'll end up paying $3 million for it.
Let's say if you got a $600,000 mortgage, you took a 50-year amortization. Yes, your payment could be $2,300. Normally on a 30-year, your payment would be $2,900. But the difference on a 50-year, you're going to pay only $319 to principal. $2,000 is going to go to principal, where at the 30-year, you have like $900 going to principal. And that's a massive difference there. And that's where I could see it in some areas. This makes sense. But to me, again, I think it's a Band-Aid fix. It's not something that is going to change the market that way.
Yeah. I mean, just to expand on what you're mentioning about Dustin Woodhouse idea. I mean, if you try to increase household income, like we said, not everyone's able to do this. I mean, you and I, we have the ability to, but we are in sales now. But if you are raising, like essentially, if you're raising the tide, everything else goes up. So it's like if you're raising minimum wage to like $30 an hour, well, a laborer is probably going to have to get paid $40 or $50 an hour for it to be worth it for them. And all the costs go up. So you're just raising the tide and everything becomes more expensive. So that defeats the purpose and that doesn't solve it. Now, if you lower the cost to construct, yes, um, you're going to have to tax somewhere else. And you mentioned it before. Then you probably have to raise property taxes. In BC, we actually have one of the lowest property taxes in the world. Like I was looking at some like other areas, other provinces in the country, and a comparative property tax that would have been 3,000 a year in like the Greater Vancouver area is like 5 or 6,000 back east in like let's say Nova Scotia. I'm like, holy crap! Maybe I'm so used to it being so low in the Lower Mainland. Maybe because of the volume of people, we can make up for it for the lower rates. But yeah, those kind of things, and then because of that, that ain't gonna happen. I can see Dustin Woodhouse' argument about like, hey, fiveplex builders already have it. It's just not available to the general public.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see it. Yeah.
It's an interesting thing. If like I want cash flow, like, hey, yes, I'm fine with having that debt. Now, maybe if we could tie it in of like, okay, we can do 50-year amortizations, but Canadians can also write off their interest on their mortgage. Then we're talking. I could be more on board that way. And in the US, yes, you get to write off the interest on your mortgage, but hey, you also have to pay capital gains when you sell your place. So there's pros and cons to it. There is ways, like there is strategies to convert your principal residence in Canada into a tax deductible. And so, I mean, yes, if you can use some of that, again, I could see it being better. But if you're just spreading it out, it's like, it might be better just to rent at that and just rent and invest the difference. Like that's where it comes down to.
You know what? And politicians will never admit it because it'll be political suicide for them. But really, in order for things to be more affordable, is for home prices to come down. Thankfully, for homeowner, like not homeowners, but the prospective home buyers out there, prices have come down from the peak. Probably an average about 15% across the country. More so in the like Fraser Valley, GTA areas, the surrounding areas, because those went like crazy high during COVID. Now it's come down quite a bit more. So it has come down. Has it come back down to 2009 affordability? No, I don't think it will. I mean, it's coming back to close to 2019 pre-COVID pricing. And rates are nearing back to where it was before the pandemic happened. So it's happening whether the politicians like it or not. It's just the free market correcting itself.
Yep. And that's also it's people not fueling like investment properties and buying pre-sales as speculation.
Oh yeah, especially like the pre-sale market is not doing well. It's like it's dead. It's a ghost town. And even Gregor Robertson mentioned that about it's in a free fall and it's quiet. So I mean, I mentioned it before about developers failing, and we've covered this I'd say about a month ago now. Reed Heritage Properties in Guelph. They were in trouble, but there's more details that came out about this. So they are declaring bankruptcy from their multiple companies they owe in their umbrella, and they face allegations of operating a Ponzi scheme. Alex, do you want to explain to the folks here what a Ponzi scheme is?
I mean, the thing that I think of as a Ponzi scheme is it's someone is getting really rich, someone's super happy, and it's you're someone else is funding that. And that's where, let's say, Alex, I told you, hey, if you invest $1 million in with me, I'll give you a return of $1 million in 2 years. Now I'm going to keep telling people that, and I'm going to, every time I bring someone new, my 2 years, I'm going to give you your $1 million. You're going to be happy. Some people are going to be very happy. Like in a Ponzi scheme, there's people that are very happy. There's also people that are really upset because at some point it's going to be cut off. And that's where the problem with these is it's easy to tell someone, oh, look at this. We've done. And I mean, they say it's on 45 years of real estate success, which is pretty good as a track record. So that's where like, I'd be interested to see where did it go wrong? There's a big one here in like BC. Like, have you heard of like the Greg Martel? Like, have you seen like that mortgage broker?
Yeah.
I mean, that is a Ponzi scheme. That is like, they were said that they were going to be doing bridge financing, interim financing, short-term private lending. They looked at the books. There was never a loan given out. He took in $300 million from investors. A loan was never given out like that. That is the grand scheme of a Ponzi scheme. Everyone got screwed on that. Only one person won from it. These bigger ones, like there's multiple people that do win, and that's on here. I mean, they said that they have investors and they're out. Is it over 75 million? Is that what everyone is out on, like in total?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, just to touch on what Alex was saying was a Ponzi scheme is basically the meat behind it is that there is actually no investment, and their early investors get paid back by new investors coming in, and the whole scheme stops when you can't recruit any more people to keep the thing going. And yeah, it reminds me of another one back east. Claire Drage from the Lion Share Group did the same thing, and they gave up their licenses and they probably skipped the country, and the money is never to be seen again, and they're probably off in Thailand somewhere.
Oh, that's, I mean, again, I mean, even we go back to the iPro Realty, I mean, taking $8 million from a trust account. And it's like, well, I got $8 million. Yeah, I lost what the brokerage is done and we may not make any more, but hey, I might be happy with my 8 million. Like there's no recourse.
Yeah, I mean, we need stiffer white collar crime laws in Canada, that's for sure. Because right now it's just a slap on the wrist, and or maybe their governing bodies are saying you're suspended for life. I'm like, well, you have your hundreds of millions or whatever, tens of millions already. You don't need to run the business at all, and they don't face any charges or any felony crimes.
Yeah. But I always, it just always blows my mind the people that are able to do things like that. Like I lose sleep over if someone is like upset because maybe there was like, let's talk about a legal fee. I had one client that they were paying on a CMLS thing. I knew most of the cost. I was off by like $80 because I didn't realize like their discharge fee. The client was a little bit, so I lost sleep over it. I'm like, I'm going to give that guy's $80. Like I didn't tell him the numbers properly. And like, that's just where it blows my mind, how other people are able to just steal $8 million and just keep sleeping at night.
Wow, you're so detailed. I usually give people, like, you talk to a lawyer for a quote, it generally works out to $1,300 to $1,500. Like it could be more, could be less. That's just the ballpark to budget for.
Oh, and that's this on that one. This was because I had like the discharge. We were paying out a CMLS mortgage, and I knew like there was like a fee for that because it was an alternative one. I just missed one, and it was close. He was a bit of a stickler on the numbers. He's a quality guy, and he probably didn't need me to do it, but I was like, you know what? Yeah, it kept me up knowing that, hey, I didn't tell you the numbers right. I should have got that. And hey, here you go. Here's $80.
Yeah, exactly. I know this is a real estate pod, but there's some things that kind of grind our gears here we're going to talk about. It's all stuff that's happening in Canada right now. Mark Carney is sneaking. Well, this is how I'm interpreting it. He's bringing back something or imposing something called clean fuel regulations. And so the Parliamentary Budget Office says it's going to cost Canadians up to 17 cents more a liter per gas by 2030. Most of us think you're just disguising this as the carbon tax coming back. So carbon tax 2.0, what do you think?
Yeah. And that's, I mean, we kind of talk like that's what it's been blasted over social media. And that's 100% what it looks like. I would like to dig a little bit more. Like I've seen some stuff, people saying, well, this is actually something that was talked about like 3 years ago. It's not like a new thing. But again, like, hey, if it's like you tell people like, hey, I'm removing something, and then you do just add again later, like, well, what was the point of even removing it before? Obviously, other than just getting into power. And I mean, It goes back to like the political landscape in the US. Everyone that is like ever there, like there's 1 year for them actually to do work. The next 3 years, all they're doing is just trying to stay in power. And it's like, how is this like the right way to actually run a government? Like, how are we all just worried about getting into power, not doing anything that we're actually going to do? Because we can say whatever we want. I can say that, hey, I'm going to remove all carbon taxes. I get in power, and then I decide not to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we need some good people in power to run our governments, to do the right thing. Because it's easy when you're in power corrupted, to be lured by different parties. I scratch my back so you scratch mine, kind of thing. Like maybe I'm trying to dramatize it. I watch a lot of TV. I've watched House of Cards and all that. Like how realistic is that? And um, you know, I've heard that it's pretty close. Like not to tip the scales of, we have a guest in public, in the public eye that we're going to land next week. I'm not going to say the name, but we're really excited about it.
Yeah. And that's where, it's sometimes you watch TV shows and like, oh, this is a TV show. And then you're like, well, I actually saw something like that happen in real life. This like, and that's where it's just hard to know. And when you talk about like the, what do you want to call the people that like they pay lobbyists, like those things, it's like, why do we even allow this, like in some things to happen? Like, why is there certain foods that are allowed in Canada for one, also aren't allowed in the US, aren't allowed in other countries? Like, why is this all like, why are we not getting together as a world and saying like, hey, these foods are really bad for people? And one country says it's really bad, probably means it's probably bad for everyone.
I can give you one word: money. That's really just the reason why. They were like, back in the days of tobacco, it was Philip Morris in the States, and in Canada, it's even the sugar lobbyist. I heard one time there's a reason why sugar is not, when you look at the nutritional information, it's not coined as a percentage of a daily intake, and it's only grams. And they're forcing people to have to calculate. And most people aren't great at math. They're not going to calculate it. They're just going to see, oh, it's 10 grams is fine. But now if you convert that, let's say 10 grams of sugar as a percentage of your daily intake, like this can of Coke is 50% of your daily sugar intake, people are not going to buy it or not going to drink it. And that's why they've lobbied these kind of things to, like, let's say Food Canada or something, to not do the percentage and just say, hey, just put it as a grams kind of thing. So
that's even go back to like Airbnb, like the people, the hotels that were lobbying the government saying you need to ban Airbnb. How many, like the amount of new hotels are being built and the prices since Airbnb, like it's crazy. And it's like, okay, yes, like I do believe that there needs to be a better control of like short-term rentals. But again, we've just passed money over to other big corporations.
Yeah. If we're talking about lobbyists, it took a long time for Uber to come into the Lower Mainland. And it was because the taxi lobbyists trying to block it from happening. But the public were like, oh my gosh, we're traveling in the States or wherever. This is amazing. Like wherever it's like Uber's like, it's so easy, so convenient. We're just dating back history, but we finally got it. And thank goodness the public won in that, right? Here's an interesting story. Because of the tariffs, or I don't even know because of the tariffs, but Crown Royal, made in Canada, they're shutting down their bottling plant in Ontario and moving it to the US. And because of that, 200 jobs will be lost.
Yeah.
There was a growing public outcry for people to boycott Crown Royal. I'm like, well, Crown Royal is made in Canada, but it's actually owned by a UK company, even though it is like, I think it originally was a Canadian company. And it got as far as Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, pouring out Crown Royal to say protest, to, take Crown Royal off the shelves. I'm like, when we dug a little deeper, there's a distillery like where they make Crown Royal, the whiskey, in Gimli, Manitoba. The only place in the world that's being made is in Manitoba. So it's made in Canada. So folks, it's not that bad. Yes. Yes, it's not great, but take a breath here.
Yeah. And that's, like 200 jobs are going to be lost from it that way. And but again, like I would be, is it, yes. Could you say it's because of the tariffs? This is probably something that's been in the works. Like, again, there are probably already factories there. And again, we've exported so much of our stuff. Why do people don't want to do it here? Because it costs more money. They're going to go, it's always going to be, we're going to go where it's the cheapest. And that used to be China. It's India, it's Mexico, but even Mexico, like they're ramping up manufacturing. And so it's cheaper for people not to do it in Canada. And they're like, well, I'll go to the US and I'll do it.
Well, yeah, same thing when it goes to like clothing. It's all made in China, India, Pakistan, wherever. If you ever look at your t-shirts, it's like, oh, made in Pakistan, made in Bangladesh, made in China, made in whatever. Not in the first world countries. It's where cheap labor is. And not too long ago in social media, the it got revealed like that these high end luxury brands like Hermes, Dior, Gucci,
All
they're
made in the
honestly
same
just
one.
$10. Yeah, they're all made in the same warehouse in China. They just slap a different label on it, and
Yeah.
the fakes go to like the night market for you sell them for $50, and then the real ones have a different label on it. Hermes, you sell them for $10,000. I mean, like
Yeah, that was
I'm
that was
sure
that was
we all knew it anyway, but it's one of those is ignorant bliss kind of thing, and
I mean, the
like
stores are still there. Like the stores, like those stores. I like. I mean, I've never gone and tried to buy a Gucci shirt. Like that to me is like it's. I'm a like a winners type of person, but those stores didn't go bankrupt. I thought like when that was going, I'm like, oh my god, like there's going to be companies that are done. They're going to close because people aren't going to buy. Nothing happened. It's again, like you said,
yeah,
it's influence. People just, I think they just want to pretend they don't care.
yeah, people are buying an image and a lifestyle, and the label and your branding, and so the world keeps going around.
And then we got now this is another one. Quebec loses a 500 million on an EV battery plant. Now, from what I can tell here is obviously like was this a plant that the government ended up giving some money for there, Alex? And then they actually aren't going to complete the work that they said they were going to do.
You know what? I don't know. It turns out
Okay,
that this company building the plant, they were in financial trouble already
yeah.
when the money was handed over. Like, um, do you guys not do any research to who you contracting things out to, and like
Well, that's I mean, who
like
like let's did you see like I know you watch basketball more. Like, are you seeing like the Kawhi Leonard stuff? Like, kind of
oh yes,
like
yes.
let's talk about that. Like, just an example here of obviously somebody is getting money somewhere, and so we'll talk about this, and Alex may be able to explain it more. But Kawhi Leonard, superstar basketball player, brought the championship to Toronto and everything. When he moved to like his new team and stuff, like every sports has a salary cap, and now he's not the first player that's this has been done. Obviously, this is happening all over the place. He got paid a certain amount of money. Well, the owner of that place also owns a couple other companies, and it's been found out that, and again, it's not Kawhi Leonard's name, but well, I forget what the company was. I think it was like KL2 or something, and it's like Kawhi Leonard 2 and his number's 2 on his jersey, and it KL2 Aspire, I think, and the company is bankrupt, but they owe this Aspire company $25 million. They owe him $7 million every single year, and that is how they were able to get him to come over there because they gave him more money. They gave him as much as they could for the salary. And they're like, oh, don't worry, we'll give you some more money on the side.
Yeah, basically it was this cap circumvention that they were lining up endorsements with other companies to get paid, and this came out. I'm sure this is probably not
No,
the first, and this is probably not the last.
yeah.
Yeah,
It is kind of funny though, like, and like in college, like for football and college sports in the US now, like people have to be paid for their likeness, like you actually have to pay them. It's kind of funny. I saw a picture of Alabama before that this came in. They used to give money to people all the time, like under like you're gonna get a car, you're gonna get this, like it was all under, like you couldn't pay the kids at college. Then it shows another thing of them not paying, and now they don't want to pay people. It's like, well, you were paying them all under the table before, but now you just don't want to pay them legally. You're fine to do it under the table, but now you want to treat people like crap because you have to do it legally. Like it's just such a weird thing.
yeah. It's just weird. Um, we have a little, bunch of stuff that we want to talk about immigration coming up here. So, according to the Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, so short IRCC, international students admissions are down 70% from last year. This is not surprising because due to
That
public
was
outcry, uh, you know, uh, government finally turned off the taps, or at least slowed the taps to immigration. Um,
yeah.
and Canada, saw the largest quarterly net outflow of non-permanent residents outside of the pandemic. So if you're looking at the graph here on YouTube, well, you can see how immigration spiked over the last 4 or 5 years, probably dating back to the pandemic, right? And and then it just stopped, and that's it. Probably it correlates in line with housing prices shooting up and rent prices shooting up and inflation shooting up as well.
But I mean, that's where we
Yeah,
just saw the largest quarterly net flow of outflow of non-permanent residents outside of the pandemic. Like people are just like they came here with kind of this like Canada's the best place. You're gonna get this, you're gonna get that. It's like shit. I actually don't want to be here.
yeah. This other graph kind of basically says the same thing here. We it nosedives our population growth. I mean, it's almost like our population grew artificially, not naturally, because of mass immigration to prop up our GDP, to create a fake economy that we're doing well when really per capita we're not really that productive. And so obviously bad news for developers, home builders, speculators, cheap labor employers, immigration consultants, and diploma mills. But overall, good news for local Canadians like you and I.
Yeah, exactly. So we talked about this last week, talking about the foreign workers program, the Lima, like where there was one here. It was actually in my town where I live in Courtenay. There was a Tim Hortons that's trying to get a manager for $38 an hour, and it's on there. And all you have to have is your high school graduation. That's all you need to get the job. Well, I'll tell you this: there's a lot of people in town that I know would take $38 an hour to be a manager, but it's going to the foreign workers. And we're not bashing on foreign workers. Like we really want to make that clear. This is solely on the government making a program, because the reason why they want these companies do this is they're getting paid from the government. They're not actually paying this person $38 an hour. That's not what they have to pay. They're able to get the person, and then the government is going. What is it? Do you remember how much they actually get, Alex? Is it 30%?
I believe 30% that the government subsidizes. So essentially, the subway is paying 70 cents on the dollar. So if you and I run a company and there is this big loophole that we can do, and we just need to pay employee 70 cents on the dollar, why the hell not? I mean, we're not chastising them. I'm like, they're very well in the rights. It's just, this program is just ripe for abuse, and you're just asking to get to take advantage of this, and that's kind of what led to high youth unemployment, and I mean businesses relying heavily on temporary foreign workers. I mean,
that's like, to me, this is why like
Tim Hortons, McDonald's, all that stuff.
And like, let's not bring this, like, let's maybe not get rid of the program, but let's make it not a foreign. Let's make it like, hey, if you're 23, 24, you finish school, well, we want to help you. Like these jobs back in the day were to help people build up and continue their careers. These were not where people were meant to live and keep working forever. And that's where maybe be like, hey, you know what? We're going to take some of this money and we're going to make it so employers want to hire some younger staff, make sure that they can get trained and stuff. Like that's where I see some like benefits of this.
Yeah, and I'm also seeing too, like on social, a lot of large rallies are being gathered across countries in Europe, France, the UK, Spain, Greece, protesting mass immigration. And one I guess one protesting sign said quality immigration, not quantity. And I agree with that. It's not we're not shitting on immigrants. We are all immigrants at one point or another. Some came earlier than others. We need to have immigration that's sensible, sustainable, and our pace of build, our housing, it maintains with the pace of homes being built. Not
so they don't get put
bring in
in
3 million people. Yeah, exactly. Not put in 3 million people when we only make 200,000 a year. And you see cases like these slumlords fitting in 20 people in a house that's meant for it's only a 5-bedroom house, and you're putting 4 people in each room, dividing with curtains in between the rooms and people sleeping in hallways and all that stuff just to make a quick buck. And it's just right for um, people abusing it. So, going into the locally here in BC, this kind of stems into because we finally essentially turned off the taps to immigration. Um, Post-secondary schools like Vancouver Community College, Langara College, Kwantlen Polytechnic University all announced layoffs this week. So it kind of, the whole industry is kind of being affected because, they have taken advantage of foreign students, especially the post-secondary schools. They're paying 4 times the amount of a local. And
Yeah.
of course they're making money. So they're because they don't need to rely on the government so much. And I mean, if you look at two sides of the coin, they're bringing in more foreign students so that they can charge the locals less. So now I can see if they have no foreign students, they're going to have to charge the locals more to make up for it. And
Potentially.
so I can see
but
that.
like some of these programs just never should have been there. Like, I mean, we saw this a lot. This already happened in Ontario, like just before summer, like there was like 11 different schools that had to close. Like it was a Ponzi scheme. Like that's what it was. It was doing these things, getting them in for a diploma that had no meaning, wasn't actually going to, for one, better that person, wasn't going to better civilization in any way. And they just took all the money they could get.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's bad for them, but it's kind of like good for Canadians. I'm like, the system that's what's happening in our country right now. It needs to stop, and there's collateral damage because of it. So, I'm going to finish off with one little stat here. There's sales in the Greater Vancouver area. Vancouver area home sales rose 2.9% year over year in August. So, sales have picked up, but it does remain 19.2% below the 10-year average per the Greater Vancouver Real Estate Board. Now, just because sales have gone up, prices not have come up. So it jumped 10%, but the benchmark price fell 3.8% to 1.15 million. So homes are still expensive in Vancouver, but it has come down from the peak. So, bringing it back to like, if you are looking to buy, this is actually a perfect opportunity. Rates have come down. We've kind of beat this again and again. We're not trying to sell you anything. It's just the way markets work. Markets go up, markets go down. The best time to buy is when no one wants to buy, because you can get deals out there. So,
yeah. And again, it's just, remember, like, especially if this is going to be your principal residence, like talking to someone today, like real estate to me has like 3 different things. Obviously, yes, we want it as an investment, but this is where you want to see your family grow. And this is where you want to spend the rest of your life. Like, and that's where people, they get too focused on like, I got to make money from this. I have to make money from this, or you're going to make a lifestyle. Like, this is where your kids want to go to school. Like that's where I find a lot of people have kind of, they just keep thinking about, I want to make 100,000. I want to buy this today and make 100,000. Until you ever sell it, that's not going to happen. And so if you're not doing it as an investment, you're not a builder, really, you just want to look at where do you want your family to be, and does it work with your budget? Like that's really all that matters.
Yeah. We've talked about this before, that we really need to disincentivize real estate as a speculative thing. When I first got into the industry, it was more like long-term wealth creation, not somewhere along the line, the whole pre-sale flips and all that stuff and selling assignments. It worked because things were going up in price, 100,000 a year or whatever, or 2 years later for 150,000 more. And it worked until the party stopped. So we need to get back into a healthy environment. And you know what? Our guest next week, we will talk about those things. I'm really excited about it. Any closing thoughts before we wrap up, Mr. Shanks?
No, I think that's a good one. It's hoping to enjoy a little bit of the summer this weekend. We're still going to try and do some stuff at the lake, get the last little boating in before we got to put the boat away for the year.
Yeah, and personally, both Alex and myself, we both have our wedding anniversaries within a day of each other. I believe yours is the 9th and mine is the 10th, right? Yeah. So
yeah, that's, I do that. It's gotta get some stuff sorted out for the wife here.
Yeah. For us, it's our 20th wedding anniversary. So,
Wow.
but we've been together for 30 years, so that tells you how old I am. Yeah, so we've been together for 30 years, but married for 20. So, yeah, we're going to celebrate that. So, honey, you're not going to listen to this, but happy anniversary, honey. And I will not work on our anniversary day. I will try not to. It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
But maybe I will check my
Yeah.
maybe I'll check my phone while I'm on the toilet so you don't see it.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, folks, do make sure to tune in. I can't say who it is coming on, but you do want to tune in next week. It's our biggest guest to date. On behalf of Alex Shanks, I'm Alex Pang. Thanks for tuning in to episode 53 of the Canadian Mortgage Show. We'll see you next week.
Now, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, make sure to follow us. Please give us a 5-star rating. You can even send us an email because we want to know what you guys want to hear about. That's what we're here for. Reach out anytime.